Jesus' name, amen. And you may wonder, what made you to talk about this thing? I'm following the good example. The good example is known as the Black Robe Regiment. The Black Robe Regiment was the name the British placed in the courageous and patriotic American colleges during the founding era. It was a kind of backhand reference for the black robe that these colleges wore during that time. And British largely blamed the Black Robe Regiment for American independence, and rightfully so. And there were the Absaloms, James and John Witherspoon, and William Smith, Richard Allen, and Israel Evans, to name a few. Even the modern day historian would document that there is not one single right or study into the Constitution of the United States that was not already preached by these preachers in their sermons prior to 1763. It's not just the British who saw the American pulpit as largely responsible for American independence and the government. Our own leaders did that same thing. John Adams, the second president of the United States, he said the pulpit had thundered. And especially identified several ministers as being among the characters the most conspicuous and the most ardent and influential in the awakening and the revival of the American principle and the feelings that led American independence. In other words, you can say American independence was started from the Bible, from the pulpit, from the church, from their heart. American clergy were at the time courageous to provide the leadership during the time of difficulty. They led the troops from the front, or they treated wounded. And they distributed news flashes around the communities. And they wrote the state constitution and governing document and founding colleges, American Christian universities. Can you believe that Harvard and Yale were once Christian universities? And even the serving in the Congress. Can you believe that President Thomas Jefferson sent his Marine Corps band to the Congress so they can have a service, on the morning service in the Congress, and they are the one who play the hymns for that service? Where is the separation of church and state? Obviously, Thomas Jefferson knew better, and Hugo Black did not know anything about it. American clergy were faithful expositor of the fullness of God's word and applying its principles to every aspect of life, thus shaping America's institute and culture. They were also at the forefront of the proclaiming liberty and resisting tyranny and opposing any encroachment on God-given rights and freedoms. Some of you may not think the way I do think. Some of you may not see the things the way I see. That's fine. It's a free country. Before you get upset and walk out the door, bear with me, as I had asked you before. Listen to the fact. If I said any lies, then you tell me. I wish I could say the same thing about the current pastors in America. But I cannot say that. Especially those who have big mega churches. Those people who have influence to the people, but they will not speak the truth from the pulpit. And, okay, I can see the outside reason. They will say, we cannot say that because we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and according to IRS code, we are not supposed to participate in political things. If we do, IRS has the right to take away that 501c3 status. That's correct. But I've seen many liberal churches siding the liberal side and without losing 501c3 status. So I guess that only applies to the conservative churches. But the true reason behind not teaching the truth from the pulpit to make their congregation to think according to God's way is because they don't want to lose congregation. They don't want to lose money. And they don't want to lose the status to being a pastor, senior pastor of the big mega church. Because they know that many of their congregations don't see eye to eye with them politically. So the freedom of faith in Jesus Christ we have can be taken away. Let me put it this way. Adolf Hitler, during World War II, once said, German pastor before the World War II, that he would not interfere with the specific doctrines of the church, as long as the church were teaching those things that were harmony with the goods of German people. He called them positive Christianity. At the same time, Hitler removed Christmas and Easter from their national holidays. Christmas turning to the completely pagan holidays. And Easter was nothing more than celebrating the coming spring. And so what he did, he totally secularized the Christian holidays as just another holiday. Sounds familiar? And Hitler created a flurry of the new laws and accused the pastors and church leaders of breaking them. In one way or another, God had to be separated from the government and public square. And he did that, and he ejected all the Christian stuff from school. And they forbade the Christian school prayer and the carol and nativity plays from the school. And the crucifix been eliminated from the school classrooms. Hitler imprisoned anyone who stood against him. And for what they said. Nowadays, you would call it what? Hate speech. With God and truth removed from the government and the value of Hitler's socialism filled the vacuum, the church would increasingly become enemy of the state. This is exactly what's happening in the United States. Systematically, liberals have been working their way into every fiber of the fabric of our society. The spearhead of this group is the ACLU, American Civil Liberty Union. This group of lawyers, brilliant people, this group of lawyers will sue anyone, any company, any institution to have a God or the Christianity ousted from the government, from the law, from education, from the workplace. They largely succeed, and the people are scared to death of the lawsuit done by these ACLUs. But they are not done yet. Their noose against Christianity is getting tighter and tighter by day. And especially under the name of hate speech and bigotry. In addition to that, our freedom of religion is being eroded and being betrayed by the elite, those who are supposed to guard our liberty in the government and the media. Journalism went down the drain. There is no such a thing as a fair journalism. It's all biased now. Because the same-minded people like ACLU infiltrated educational systems, mainly universities and colleges, even churches. Whenever I pass by one particular church on Craycroft on Broadway, it says Progressive Church. I know what that means. That means they don't believe anything in this book. And I always say, well, why don't you call something else other than church? If you don't believe this, why bother to call yourself Christian? In case you have any doubt what President Obama did against Christianity, in your hand there's a 6-page document. Every one of them has a reference. Every one of them has a fact. Go find it for yourself if I'm telling the truth or not. He's taking away one piece at a time. Now, that he did this in 4 years in first term. He had to worry about the re-election. If he get re-elected, do you think he had to worry about anything else? It will be completely open season against you, against me. There's 3 other areas that I'm going to talk about, as I mentioned. First one is abortion. In the Illinois legislature, Barack Obama, at the time as a state senator, opposed the Born Alive Infant Protection Act 3 times. What is the Born Alive Infant Protection Act? It's a bill recognizes baby born after attempted abortion as a person and provide the doctors to give them a care. He wouldn't even bring himself up to protect this infant brutalized from the surgery and utterly left alone to die without doctor's care. Think about it. Don't think that abortion is a clean surgery. No, it's literally dissecting the baby inside the mother's womb. And somehow this baby survived that surgery and still come out. And you know what they do? They pull out the child, put it on the table, walk away. And he has a very few fragile breath, and he said, no, don't protect that thing. Now he even supports gender abortion. You know what the gender abortion is? They want to choose. Okay, mom and dad don't want a boy. They want to go because they have 5 boys. So they're allowed to choose. He supports that. Is a baby sick? No. Is abnormal? No. Was a result of a rape? Of incest? No. But because he is abortion, he supports it. President Obama is an extremist of abortion. He has never supported any meaningful restriction on it and never will. And especially in his second term. Do you think I'm lying? Check into the Planned Parenthood. Who has 100% support for the Planned Parenthood? President Obama. Folks, listen to me. If you, ladies especially, if you had abortion, I'm not condemning you. I'm sure you ask God to forgive you. It's done, past, God doesn't remember. But this is about the body. Abortion is not a woman's choice, but it is a murder of a helpless baby in the mother's womb. If you vote for a candidate who's political candidate who endorses abortion, you are endorsing the murder of that next baby. How can you, with a clear conscience, vote for that person who will vote for abortion? I cannot even fathom killing a child. I have a grandson. He gets in everything and everywhere. He climbs out of the crib. Now, I have a video to prove that he's an escape artist. He's precious in my eyes. I would die for that child in a heartbeat, like all of you. For all of you kids. Let me ask you this. If a woman is standing here and she is pregnant, would you call that something thing inside of her mother's womb? Or would you call it it's a baby, human baby? They used to call it fetus until they figured it out. Fetus means in Latin word is a baby. Okay, we said it's not baby, but we are saying in Latin word it's a baby. Wow, that's stupid. Maybe we should not call it fetus anymore. So they try to make it sound like it's a woman's choice. May I remind you, it's a survival of that child. Some people are willing to vote for the candidate that will kill the child. And they call themselves Christian. Turn to the